Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. We have the pleasure of having with us Hiroshi Ishii, who is Associate Director of the MIT Media Lab. And thank you for coming to XPANSE, if this is your first conversation here. Hiroshi, thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
We're here to talk about the Matterverse, which is a term introduced, coined, imagined by our common friend and the creator of XPANSE, Dr. Zina Sinker, but also adopted in many different circles. And the prompt for the conversation is the Matterverse. So the first question is the most simple one. What is the Matterverse to you, and how does it relate to what's not material?
Okay. Matter really matters. We are made of the matters. We deal with, manipulate matters. More abstractly, how to represent your idea, then share with other really matters. If you use a mathematical equation, you can apply all the algorithmic operators. If you do spatial drawing, lot of post-it note, you can use the proximity as a means. Connection, for example, you can spatial computing. And if you choose those pixels, you cannot do direct manipulation. Although you have to rely on the remote control. But if your baby, you want to hold it. If you visit your grandma, grandpa, you want to encourage them to padding shoulders. Also, you are a great sculptor. You may want to manipulate the materials. Also, you're amazing musical player. You really enjoy tactile, tangible interaction with the body. Those are all missing. Pixel is very powerful, very scalable, but also fundamentally missing the connection to your body and the physical world. That sucks.
And thank you. And this is something that you have. We could say this is a battle that you've been waging, and we call it the battle against the pixel empire.
Yes, exactly.
What is this battle, and how are we doing with it, actually?
Okay, first of all, pixel empire is kind of half joke, but many people thought graphical user interface, pixel, high resolution screen is the ultimate interface. They stop really questioning. Can't we think about something more exciting, interesting, or appropriate for certain task? So I'm really scared of people really stop thinking to beyond pixel, empire, GUI. Then I joined MIT almost 30 years ago, 1995. At the time, dominant metaphor is graphical user interface. Everything becomes pixel, bitmap display. But sorry, that's today, same. You cannot really directly touch, grab. You have to do remote control. Even touch screen, you are not really directly manipulating. So I thought it's a good idea to defy the gravity. So Nicolas Negroponte, he's like a founder of MIT Media, wrote a very seminal book, Being Digital. So after 2 years, I start being tangible. It's the opposite. Because our physical existence, we really enjoy dancing, eating, traveling around the world, feeling, so that it's quite interesting because now VR, Metaverse is a huge hype. Definitely VR has a lot of great applications, which totally understand. But for me, it's like a deep sea diver. If you search the gears for deep sea diver, because we can't really breathe air in the deep sea. You need a pipe, oxygen stuff. And so that currently, so many new deep sea divers wearing new like a gadget, diving into waters, but they can't live forever. Maybe at most 2 hours, 3 hours. So always, I think opposite of deep sea diver is stroller in a seashore, feeling the breeze of the sea wind. They also picking up a beautiful seashells, then showing it to my friends and seeing each other's eyes. Gaze is so important. So abandoning, giving up so many important tangible interaction, enjoying the nature, losing eye contact. Why you have to go to dive into that space? Of course, it's a special application. If you are maintaining a very complex machine, airplane, you need to see what's pipe electronics behind it. in this kind of special application, of course, HMD makes sense. But I thought too much hype of the metaverse could be very dangerous. Then 2 years ago, something amazing happened. Gina, she's a rock star, superstar, and heroine of making this XPANSE happen. But also 2 years ago, I was invited in Puzzle X in Barcelona. How many people were there? The theme was Matterverse. That struck me. I never heard the term Matterverse. But against Matterverse, very powerful way, having so many material scientists and also quantum computing people think about the real material. Then I decided, okay, I have to challenge. Currently, everything represented as a fake simulated visual image, auditory image, feeding your eyes and ears. But that's not the ultimate stuff. Why don't you make real physical material dance, floating in the air, changing a shape or changing a property? That's radical atoms. I talked 2 years ago.
And in fact, I was about to ask you one of the sort of more radical concepts about this idea is the radical atoms. Can you tell us a little bit more about radical atoms?
Yeah. Before radical atoms, I did a tangible bits, 1997. Making bits tangible, you can touch, grasp it with your hands, feeling tactile stuff, because I use a real physical object. But the physical object is very frozen. I can't really make a change of the stiffness on the fly. So I decided to hack materials, matters, so that they can really change the shape, property on the fly by computation. So that's the new materials. But this new dancing material can be competitor against pixel dancing in a 2D flat screen. So also radical atom is a notion of the chemistry. Some unstable like atoms and molecules who try to change to the different states. So I thought it's a nice name. So I'm using radical atoms. Also 2016 to 19, I had an exhibition called Radical Atoms in Ars Electronica. How many people went to Ars Electronica? That's an amazing venue to really media arts and scientists, philosophers, all the meets. But before academic community, Gerfried Stocker, director of the Ars Electronica, recognized radical atom is very, very powerful concept. Then he gave a new subtitle, Alchemist over Time. Why don't we become an alchemist, invent new materials, new paintbrush, new ink, rather than using Adobe Creative Suite, although it's a very nice software, but why don't you make your own materials, gold or emerald or diamond, then create new artistic expression. I thought that is a very powerful metaphor. So radical atoms in Ars Technica, also Matterverse, Gina coined the term for 2 years ago, really energized and triggers my research.
Thank you, Hiroshi. And I mean, I think there is a better place than the Media Lab than in Boston to sort of explore these interactions between different disciplines and art and technology. And Ars Electronica that you mentioned is also a great place to see some of these ideas. One of the things that we talked about before was this intangibility of some of these ideas of some of these technologies that we are used to and that we keep seeing, and obviously we keep hearing about AI all the time, and this imagination that we have of AI as something invisible, that has led us to has led you to introduce also another idea, which is that of tangible AI.
Yeah.
Is that something you can tell us a little bit more about?
Yeah, I think tangibility is something important. How many people have a keychains in the pocket? Oh, good, you still have it. So every time you stand up, sit, you feel it. Also, you can pat, then say, okay, it's secure, key is there. But how many people feel? How many cookies in the online? How many keywords already hacked, for example? No idea. But every time we get a report, all this company compromise. Then, oh, do I have an account like that? That's crazy. So some peace of mind coming from the tangibility of the important key in the pocket really say something very, very important we lost and we out of controls. Also, everything wireless beautiful, but when everything wired, I can debug it. Okay, why this projector doesn't work? Maybe cable doesn't work. Then just replace it. But here, everything wireless, no clue how to trace it. So Leonardo da Vinci did an amazing sketch. And if you go to Milano, you see the Da Vinci's museum or the mechanical mock-up prototype of the machine using gear. But you can do qualitative reasoning. If gear rotate in this way, how other power force can be transferred, then how machine works. So enabling qualitative reasoning because tangible representation is so important for us to debug it. But today, silicon chip refuses you to debug anything because you can decode anything inside. So I think the black box of digital computing is very powerful, but also have a cost. That's the reason, especially feeding all the synthetic imagery audio to provide fake, not real illusion seems to be very, very scary, simply because every technology can be weaponized. Now many people dying, making more drone accurate to kill the target or miss the target, for example. So important thing is human-centered design sounds nice, but no single human in center. All the people have a different opinion, policy, hating each other, or even killing each other. That's the reality. So if you think about the weaponization of the technology, which already destroyed democracy in certain country, I don't say which country, but it's crazy. Presidential campaign, it's a nightmare. So I really worry a lot about the extreme go to the meta virtual.
And this takes us to, I think, a deeper question, one that probably we're not going to solve today, but this intangibility also being linked to questions of ethics and whether or not, you know, we are asking ourselves if AI can be tangible or if technology can be tangible, but if this is the case, can it be ethical?
Okay, that's a very profound question. How many people have the term ethical AI? Ethical AI. How many people had responsible AI? Those beautiful words, but it's kind of a nonsense. AI cannot be ethical or responsible. Humans have to be responsible or legal responsibility. Human often unethical. If you see certain country, very unethical. Unethical people develop technology, then unethical people using technology as a weapon or sometimes a good purpose. So that's the reality. Giving an illusion as if I'm working with the ethical AI. So it's important. Ethical have to do a lot of work, like exempting from a duty, paying tax, for example. So I understand people want to say, I wish AI become ethical. I wish world become peaceful. I wish all the war will cease. But that's never happen. Saying ethical AI, responsible AI, human-centered, I'm really scared you are now enjoying being in echo chamber.
That's something that would be a perfect ending and way to open the floor to some questions. We have good solid 10-15 minutes, and I wanted to create this opportunity for the floor to ask some questions. We got one here.
I just have a question in terms of like the use cases of the Matterverse. If we were to develop it, how would it benefit us as a society?
Of course, I think in general, telecommunication is so powerful because we have to overcome distance. We can't overcome time difference, but overcoming distance, you can do education, learning, meeting people, but also, COVID-19 crisis, social distance. Here, you and I can control distance, negotiate, because single physical distance. But once you go to virtual, it's unequal. You may feel I'm too close or you're far away. Also, if you love somebody may really love you, want to come closer. So distance is too far, but you may want to stay away. So impedance mismatching of desirable distance is a real flavor. Then how your face looks big in the screen, Zoom screen, or how voice loud. So basically, proxemics. Edward T. Hall wrote a book, seminar book about proxemics. What's a distance? Personal distance, or professional distance, or social distance? But now having a very complex hybrid digital mediation, notion of distance is out of control and very, very complex. Even go to Metaverse, and it's more complex. But maybe most difficult part is are you really you? Aren't you fake? Or didn't you compromise my system? Then you try to manipulate to buy something I don't need to buy it. But that's really happening today. Even with the technology, using telephone, so many bad things are happening. So I think metaverse future is very, very powerful for certain very well-defined domain. If airplane is hijacked in the airport, or the expert seal have to do training, how to rescue the passenger, making a physical mock, but do stuff, that makes perfect sense. But for daily life, some guy in the top of the big company said, metaverse is much more natural to communicate. They enjoyed several hours every day. And people can understand better in the metaverse. But I think that's completely wrong. So I think we have to really understand power of the subtle gaze awareness and full bandwidth of the communications. Even you don't have a eye contact. 30 years ago, I invented a clear board, drawing board. You can draw together, but you can clearly see the gaze where in the drawing board your partner looking at. So this kind of non-verbal cue, gaze is so important to check, are you really following me? Are you really do you really understand? But today, Zoom, I don't know if you're doing other stuff, completely lose the connection. So metaverse, telecommunication, very powerful, but come with a cost. Destroy some natural interaction, but maybe most difficult part is weaponization to manipulate, deceive some people. So I'm a bit scared.
Also, in terms of how it can change your life, to your question, at the moment we have this, our engagement with a lot of these technologies tends to be very visual or auditory, and I think the opportunity for a multisensorial experience also in the way we design experiences, we design things, it's has a huge impact. I mean, one of the projects that Hiroshi has been working on that really struck me as I was preparing for this talk, without spoiling much of what you're going to say tomorrow, we're going to talk about that tomorrow as well, but is this project where it gives you the opportunity to play piano with someone who is not with you in the room, and you have a person who plays, and there's a recording and a projection, and it's and it will be explained and described much better by Hiroshi, but it's the multisensorial experience that you can have there. From a design point of view is an incredible way of working, but also from an experience point of view is it's much more engaged.
Thank you for mentioning.
No, please, we'll give a spoiler, a little spoiler to your talk tomorrow, but first we should see if there are other questions as well, or if you want to add something.
I like a poem, short text, which challenged me to interpret between the character, words, or lines based on my imagination or experience of my life. That is much more exciting than seeing a 8K, like a full vision, like a video or movie. It doesn't leave any room to complete, interpret based on my life or experiences. In a similar way, telecommunication, we just talked, is great to overcome the distance. But I'm very interested about the other dimension, time, remote time. You might want to see yourself when you are in elementary school. You may also want to go back to the kitchen when you are kids, but your mom is cooking for dinner, for example. And also, you may want to be remembered after you leave this world by your descendants, children, or family. So how to really extend our life, not the distance, but time, is project called teleabsence, which I'm going to talk tomorrow, 10 a.m., I think, or 10:30, or whatever, in the keynote. So real key is people die twice. First, when they die. Second, they are forgotten. So people have a fear of being forgotten. People want to be remembered. Also, I want to remember my deceased grandma or friends I lost a connection. But I really can't remember the face, even name. That makes very sad and lonely. So I think loneliness is a pandemic. How to really overcome the dimension of remote time, industrial remote distance, is one of the key interests called teleabsence. Then, how many people play piano? Good. Good. I'm glad that we have a lot of friends in the pianist. Do you know Ryuichi Sakamoto? He was my friend, and he came to my lab and played Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, 12 years ago. But he passed away last year. But tomorrow, I'll show we brought him back to our piano called Mirror Fugue. You can see he's playing the music, acoustic sound as key moves. Then you can sit on the chair, which Ryuichi actually was sitting. Then you can feel the presence, but also you can do duet if you can play piano. So my dream is people who died never respond. You cannot interact. But how to give an illusory communication, illusion as if interacted. So I really want to convince people, piano, practice duet, really open door. Even deceased pianists, you have a real joy to play together. So please come to my talk tomorrow.
This is so poetic, but also so practically important. We had another question there, please.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask Professor Ishii if you could outline a little research agenda for the next 5, 10, 15 years on the Matterverse.
Thank you very much. I think Matterverse is very powerful to shifting focus to pixel empire. Now everybody think about beautiful, seductive pixel can do anything, but fundamentally you cannot really confirm the existence. This is a very interesting example. You see, it's a fire site, so it's metaphorically representing fire, but it's not screen. At least you can touch it, but I don't feel any heat. So something missing, but it's kind of intermediate representation. So many things can be represented by text or metaphor on the screen, but having some physical substance, you can really imagine. Don't come too close, it's so hot. Or making your face more bright so I can take photos. So I think there must be design to take advantage of physical affordance. Tomorrow I'm going to show the artwork called music bottles. Simple glass bottle. Then open it, the music starts. Or poet start reading poem. It's simple starting button, logically. But opening a fragile glass bottle give a very different emotional experiences. And once you drop, it's gone. You can't reboot because it's not digital. But it gives some kind of pleasure. So it's not a function, but a beautiful glass bottles which contain your mom's poems or favorite musician's music or radio. It's very powerful. So I think we can really go to the real world, physical world, understand all the physicality interaction. Then you can bring digital augmentation. But today, everything starts from pixel. They make a behavior and AI. So I believe there must be different approach. That is my passion. Plus, teleabsence. I lost so many loved ones. I really want to talk to them. Also, I want to hear from them. So tomorrow, I talk about all my maybe most crazy last vision.
We have one more question here, and then two at the back, and then I think if I could ask you kindly to keep these questions as short as possible. Please, sir. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question to Professor Hiroshi. I think I like the analogy of having the keychain in the pocket, but nowadays we have our smartphone pocket instead, right? And that's actually the most aggressive intervention of the pixel empire somehow, right? My questions would be twofold, Professor Hiroshi. Let's say if we have to live with this device for quite some times, is there any possibility that we could come up with the creative use cases to apply Matterverse, tangible AI with this kind of device? The second part is that, let's say, if you forget about this device, what shall be the alternative device for our everyday living that we're going to put in our pocket?
Thank you. That's a kind of a very hard, important question. Battle against pixel empire is a steep uphill battle. We never win.
Right.
Because scalability is amazing. Already it's a part of our life. Also, I have so many important things in the machine in your hand because I asked you to take my photos. So we can't go back. But for something very important, you may really want to feel and grab, manipulate, touch, for example. So I think I lost my mom, but I'm so busy. So I don't remember mom except for the anniversary day on the calendars. That's made me very sad because it's my mom. So that's the reason I want to get kind of signal. That's the reason Twitter bot was very powerful, bring her poem back. So you made a very hard question, and I think we don't have any solution. But thinking about the importance of tangibility, materiality, and the metaverse, blending to the hype, to metaverse, VR seems very important direction.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a question at the back.
My question's more kind of how, as humans, we interact with this kind of technology, because if the goal is to create an experience that is so tangible, shouldn't we also experience the same kind of biochemical reactions in our body? But we can see images of our parents, we can see this fire here, but it's never going to give us the same kind of biochemical response, same kind of psychological response. So these kind of more tangible but still not real experiences, are they going to leave us wanting more rather than satiated from that experience? Is there any visibility on that impact?
That is an excellent question, because our body size, human body size matters. This is a Lamy Safari fountain pen. I really like it because nicely fit. I can write a poem or the stuff because this granularity of size fit to my hands. Biochemical is so powerful, dominate, but I don't know how many biome actually are in my body doing whatever work. So it's very interesting to visualize or tangibilize so that you can understand what's happening. But make use of this interaction into something useful, like a digital pen. It needs a design. And one thing I did is a biologic with my former students, Lin Yao, she's a professor in the University of Berkeley, do you like a natto? Okay, natto has a bacteria, special fermented bacteria. So we use this bacteria as a relative humidity sensor and actuator. So we made a special garment, printed all the bacteria to the flap to open when dancer gets sweated. So that is a collaboration with the bacteria for dancing, then optimize the airflow. But in general, how to make a nano micro scale biochemical stuff into the human readable, also manipulable stuff is real charging on the interaction design. So I want to learn from you guys about any great ideas in any cases. So thank you for asking this question.
And thank you, Professor Hiroshi, for answering all these questions, and to everybody for joining the session. Just a round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.